Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining again for this month of our workshop series of the laws of the universe. And today we are discussing the law of inspired action. So, the law of inspired action is all about taking action, taking steps in the direction of our goals, of our main goal. We can have multiple goals. So it's not just about sitting there and waiting for things to magically appear and manifest into our reality. We do have our responsibility and our part to play in the manifestation process, in creating our reality. So we are co-creator of our reality, and we definitely need to have a role in this grand scheme of things. So to be able to attract what we desire in our life and to align our actions towards our goal, we want to take inspired actions. And we're going to discuss today what that looks like. So sometimes that also means that we need to let go of control, because we could get into a mindset of wanting to do all the things that we think we need to do, and then we're actually operating from a place of control. We want to control the process and the outcome. And to be able to align to the laws, we need to take actionable steps that are inspired, that are aligned and in harmony with the flow of the laws, but also to let go of control and trust the process. And so that also means to be open to all possibilities and opportunities, because sometimes things will come to us in a way that we would have not imagined, or we could have not think about, or that we didn't plan for. So we want to leave room for that as well. So it does require us to be flexible, to change, and to allow ourselves to redirect, even if we, so setting a goal is kind of putting a flagpole and then giving us direction to our life. But sometimes, even if we have this path in mind, sometimes life requires us to, take a little detour or a path that we didn't anticipate it before. So we need to keep that mindset of being flexible and flowing with the flow of the universe, because nothing is really fixed or predetermined. There's always options. So there is a grand design, like the divine design for our lives, but within that there is some flexibility with what we choose and the outcome of that. Lori, is there
Yes,
anything else you want to add?
yeah, I like to. That's good. That's really good, Laura. I also like. We were just talking, some of us, before we started here, um, about some of the verses in the Bible that relate to this law, and so there's three things that verses that I come up with. So one is that we're created for God's pleasure. And then we're created for His glory. And then we're also here to establish a relationship with Him. And so when I think of the law of inspired action, like I like to think of this as God also uh, using us as vessels to create, like He's expressing Himself through us, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So we don't have to, like, if I kind of look at it that way, that what's coming from our intuition, our gut, our inner knowing, those inspired actions are in a kind God expressing Himself through us. So it's our greater being, it's our soul or God consciousness that is trying to express Himself. So when we try to force actions, that's our human. But if we just allow the inspiration to come through us, then it's not hard, it's not difficult, and doors will open. And because it's God working himself through us, and he's enjoying this. It's his pleasure that he's using us as vessels to even for his own creativity in through us. And like Laura says, we our human has choices, we have free will. So it's nice if we can, like stuff is, we create our own world, whether we use inspired action or not inspired actions. So we might as well use the inspired actions and tap into that flow of energy that God has established.
Hmm. And sometimes
Yeah.
that requires also not to take action and to wait
Yes.
until we are in a more aligned place, and we wait for our inner guidance system or in our intuition or divine guidance to show us what is the way or what is the next step. And sometimes we are stuck, we have blind spots, and we don't know what to do. Well, I often like sitting with that question: what will it take for me to get there, or to get what I want, or to change this, or whatever my goal is? What will it take? And just sit with that question and wait for the answer, and be open to anything that might come, be willing, and see what comes. And then often that will lead the way, because we can't operate from a place of forcing things and interfering with the divine design, because that actually feels contractive, and it feels tight or heavy. Whereas if we're truly aligned and in harmony with the laws and the flow of life, then it will feel light and expansive, and it actually will fall into place easily. So there is that limiting belief that we've had up until now, and we've heard that with the previous generations. I've heard that with my parents and grandparents, that we have that belief that we have to work hard at things to get something good in our life. Like, if you haven't worked hard for it, then you don't deserve it. Like, it's not worth it. Like, you've stolen it. It's almost like you're a thief if it was too
Yeah.
easy. And that's an old paradigm, because if you understand the laws, like, actually, if you're aligned with the flow of life, then things will fall into place easily, actually. And yes, it requires effort and action, but it shouldn't be hard. If it's hard, you're doing something wrong. Then you're not
Yeah.
aligned with the
Well,
laws.
well, let's just look at the path of least resistance. Okay, we know that everything in nature uses the path of least resistance. So a babbling brook. So a babbling brook just goes with the flow. If there's a rock, it just kind of goes around the rock. Um, or look at blood, the blood flow, wind, energy flow, currents, uh, the ebb and flow of life. Uh, the only it's whenever something seems hard to do, that's because we're resisting, like we're putting up a resistance. Because if we're going with the path of least resistance, then there's harmony, there's flow. But when we, like as Laura says, we feel we have to work hard, we feel we have to put forth an effort. Well, maybe we're putting forth an effort in the wrong direction, if it is a big effort.
Mhm.
And I know that following the path of least resistance, or as another way of saying it, following the path of the most allowance. Um, like the path of least resistance, our parents used to tell us that's just a lazy person. A lazy person is someone who follows the path of least resistance. Well, I'm not talking about sitting on the couch and doing nothing. I'm talking about following our passions. And if we do what we're inspired to do, then it'll still be, we still have to get up and do something because we'll be inspired. But you shouldn't be fighting it. It shouldn't be a forced thing.
No.
And
And
if it is, you're maybe on the wrong path.
yeah, absolutely. And God never intended for us to struggle. and to work hard and hustle and all that type of energy. He
The
wants the
busy,
best for
busyness of
us.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants the best for us. He doesn't want slothful people either. He doesn't want lazy people. But he doesn't want to make things difficult for us. That's why he wants to help us on our way. He's giving us tools. He's bringing people into our lives that are going to help us on our path, and he's aligning things so that things flow easily. And that's the path of least resistance. So it's just a matter of me aligning myself to what is the easiest way to get to my goal. And yes, letting go of control and resistance and allowing opportunities and possibilities, even if it's beyond my own imagination. Be willing for it.
Yeah. And I'm sure we've all kind of been in that spot where we were at the right time and the right place, the right moment of time, and the right thing happened. Um, it could have been even being spared from an accident or something. We could have been a second later, we would have been dead or whatever. Or something good happened. We just happened to be at the right time, type, the right place. Well, that's alignment. So alignment is what, like, when our inner self lines up with our outer actions.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a matter of, yeah, just following your intuition and not saying, okay, well, I'll act on that when this happens, or when, next year when we sell our house or something.
That's
It's about
procrastination.
it's about taking action when you get inspired.
Yeah.
So because when you get inspired, there's an energy that comes with that inspiration. So if you can tap into that present energy, then you just continue the flow and then it builds momentum.
Mm-hmm.
But if we get inspired to do something and then we just say, well, you know what, I'll do that when I retire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've missed out on
Yeah.
that.
On that
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, because all we have is this moment. That's all we have.
Yeah.
This
And
now.
how
Past now
often
is gone.
Mm-hmm. And how often, like, I'm sure it's happened to you as well. Something comes to mind, and then you put it aside, like for later, which is procrastination, and then the opportunity is gone. You missed it. That's it. It'll never come back again. So and that is the your intuition or the divine or whatever you want to call it. That is putting things into your remembrance in your mind to let you know, well, this would be a good action to take. This would be a good step to take, and it will propel you forward in the direction of where you need to be or who you need to become. But if we reason it away and because we want to control or we're afraid or whatever a reason is, then boom, that's gone. Our opportunity is gone. And good thing that God is patient, that more opportunity might come our way because God just wants to help us. He wants to make it easy for us. So maybe another opportunity will come our way. Um, but then if we do it again, we just
Yeah.
lose.
Well,
We lose it.
yeah. Like what happens to me, like, is I it usually comes three times. Like I usually something will come to me, like to write the book. It kind of came to me and I thought, nah, no way. So I ignored it. And then it came back again. And then it's like,
Oh.
no, like then I started to question God, like what? And then, usually by the third time, then I'll take action. So what happens, like say someone comes to my mind and then I'll just kind of dismiss it. And then that same person comes to my mind again, that I dismiss. And then by the third time that comes to my mind, I know, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I better call that person. And
Yeah.
sure enough, something usually happens. And so I think, maybe the three times works for me because I've set that up in my own mind. I don't know.
Yeah, but that is
But
also up to you. Because now if you
yeah,
trust your
exactly.
intuition more and more, like the first time that something comes to mind, you recognize it. because now you've
Yes.
got enough experiences that you know, wow, that's my
Yeah.
intuition or
Yeah.
whatever that's telling me I need to do this. But
Yeah.
yeah, good thing that God is patient with us and
Yeah.
gives us
Like just
many chances.
like just the other day, like there's a couple that moved to town, and they like we've never had them over, we've never done anything with them, just a young couple. And um so we were driving to Fort St. John, and I says, Orland, like we've got to have, this couple came to my mind. So we've got to have that couple over. Okay, yeah, we'll do that when we get back. And then we got back, and I thought of it again, but then I was busy. And then on Saturday morning, they came to my mind again, and I said, Orland, phone them now. And then he phoned them, and they had just said, this is absolutely bizarre, because we were just saying we should get talk to Orland and Lori. And they don't even really know us that well, but they just thought of it at the right time. Like it was like seconds later, so it's like divine timing. And also, I like I like to think of divine timing and circumstances as being a synchronicity. So synchronicities are not coincidences. So we like to use the word coincidences, but I personally don't think there are coincidences. I think when we're aligned with our inspiration and what we physically do, our actions, then doors open, and people show up in our life who are going to give us some important information on our goal, or things show up for us, or somebody calls us, or we've got an inspiration to do something, and all those things are synchronicities. So whenever we feel, oh my goodness, that's a coincidence, that just happened when I was just thinking about that, well, that's not a coincidence. That means that you're in alignment
Hmm.
with your inner self.
It's a synchronicity. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I see Raquel looking at her mom, and I know Raquel is totally aligned. She gets this all the time. I call her my angel. Yeah. So you guys, that happens to us all, but I think awareness, um, just being aware of that is kind of cool too.
Hmm. And the more it happens to us, the more we train ourselves to recognize it, and the more we are
Yeah.
aware of it, and the more
Yeah.
we're open to accept the guidance that comes to
Yeah.
us. Yeah. So one thing I thought about, I don't know if you read the book, The Four Agreements. It's a really good little book. And so one of the agreements is always do your best. And that's a good one to remember. And so my mentor often would repeat and say that, have I done my best today? Have you done your best today? And if not, why not? And that's a good question to ask ourselves every day. Have I done my best today? Okay, and if not, why not? And it's not to be hard on ourselves and to berate ourselves, but it's to first acknowledge that, well, yes, I actually have done my best. So well done. Good for you. Thank you for doing your best. And if you haven't done your best, well, why not? What happened? What went wrong? How can you do your best tomorrow then? And it's to be able to improve. But it's a good thing to just, well, I'm just doing my best, and your best is not my best, so we can't judge each other by our actions in a way, because
So is your best, like, what is your best? Like, what would that entail? Like, your best at working, or your best at being intuitive and doing
yeah.
inspired actions, maybe?
Hmm. And also
Yeah.
your best is going to change. Like my best today is different than my best in a month from now or in a year from now, because hopefully I'm growing, and I will be in a different place next year. So as I'm growing, I'm able to do better and more. So my best evolves with that as well. So that's why when we look at each other's life and we want to help each other, we have to meet people where they're at, because their best is growing as well, but their best right now is not what it was before, and it's not what it could be maybe down the road. But who are we to judge? Right now their best is this. Right now my best is this, so that's good enough, and I'm
Yeah.
satisfied with that. And let's go with this. And then tomorrow, can I do more? Yes, I can do more. And I think there's a verse actually about that, that God will never give us more than what we can handle. So he just wants us to do our best. That's all. That's good enough. It's perfect.
Yeah. And another verse that came to mind was, well, it ties in with the other laws too. It's ask, Jesus said, ask, believe that you've received it, and it shall be yours. So if when we have something already, we're not striving to get it, right? Like if we already have something, we're not striving to get it because we already have it. And that's the energy that we should have as we go about our day and doing our best is you could just say is just believing that everything I need is in my space right now and it's just flowing through me and I'm not striving to get anything and I'm just letting inspired actions lead me to where I need to go. And I just thought of the like paddling in a canoe. And you could paddle upstream and you're going forth, you're doing a lot of effort and you're not really getting very far. And then whereas if you turn the canoe the other way and you just let go of the oars, but maybe just use the oars as to direct the boat, to direct your you just put it in there to maybe guide you so that you stay where you're supposed to go. And then it's more enjoyable. You just like don't be trying to open doors or don't be trying to go down paths that are difficult or that take a lot of effort because maybe that's not our where we need to be. So it's getting in touch with your like, what am I passionate about? What gives me joy? You all have probably read that book. I haven't, but it's that book about you know does this give me joy? Does that give me joy? Like where
Mhm.
are our passions?
And
And
that's the
follow that.
Yeah, that's the idea of taking inspired action is sometimes we feel like we have to do things out of duty, and certain aspects of our life are like that. Although we can change our mindset to have a better attitude about it, but when it comes to our goals and taking actions, does it feel exciting or does it feel like, oh no, I have to do this? Like then the result of that, the what you're going to reap from that is nothing expanding, or there's no blessing in that either. So if it feels inspired and exciting and light and joyful, then sure, you put in an effort, but it won't feel like work. It'll be easy to you because this is what you're meant to do. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got a note down here that says the greatest way to manifest is to live life with solid intent. So be aware of your passions, um, but with non-desire. Like with non-desire meaning non-neediness. I have to have it. I have to have it because you've already got it, right? So it's having solid intent, but with non-desire as if you've already have it. And then that just encourages the universe just to flow the intents to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing when we have that neediness, like I have to have this, or I have to do this, or this person has to be this for me. This person needs to, be here for me, or this, if we've got any of those neediness, that can actually repel the very thing we're trying to attract into our life because
Mm-hmm.
those energies don't align. So um, it's always good to look around us and say,
Yeah.
hey, do I like what I have in my life? Is
And it's
this
it's good to be aware of our words and our thoughts. Like, do we say I have to do this or I need to do this, or can we reframe it to I get to do this? I'm choosing to do this,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
a totally different energy. So it's from like duty and work and have to and neediness to I actually choose to do this because I want to do this and I like it and I
yeah,
get to do it. It's like an opportunity. It's not
yeah,
a burden, it's an opportunity.
Like if you're going to work, like uh, Sharon's going to work, especially during busy season, you probably, oh, I gotta put another 16-hour day in, whatever, for during tax season. But it's not going to be forever, those long hours. Or Raquel, maybe she doesn't feel like going through an exam that day. But if you choose those words like, hey, that's awesome, just kind of change those words up for a few little, but I get to go to work today, and I, whatever, I get to go to school today.
And be
But there's,
curious with it.
yeah,
Actually, what is this action going to bring me today? I like
I
that.
had,
Oh,
go ahead.
I like that quote that says, you go first, and then the universe goes further. So often it's also setting that momentum of you take the first step in faith, because the universe kind of wants to see that you're willing for this, you're ready for this. And then since you've taken that first step, then everything is coming to you in synchronicities and in the way you need it. So we only need to do this much actually, and then the rest is taken care of. And we need to have faith in that and trust the process as well.
And that's huge, about trusting the process, because um, we sometimes forget to do that. Like
Hmm.
we'll know our intention. Maybe we might know something that we want to start, whether it's a project, or whether it's like an art project, whether it's building a house, or whether it's a new job, or whatever we feel, or in, to move or buy a house, whatever it is, we know what we want. And so we will take inspired action to do it. But yet we forget the most important element, and that is to sit back and trust the process. And at the right time, the right thing will happen with the right people and the
Hmm.
right situation. So it's that trusting that, we gotta just not forget about.
Hmm. Having faith, which is
Yeah.
the opposite of wanting to control things and being needy and being fearful that, oh, I want this and this needs to happen now. Like, what if I don't get it? That's fear based, and
Yeah.
fear is, linked with control. But if we can just have faith and trust in the process and visualize and see that it's already happened, it's just a matter of aligning myself to it, taking the necessary steps today, doing my best, and then the rest is taken care of.
Yeah. And there's things to help that process of helping us be aware, and or helping us even manifest. It's okay. So you visualize it and you see it, you touch it, you can almost taste it. Okay, that's the kind of clarity we need to have on what it is we're trying to manifest. We need to have clarity, and to the point where you can touch it, taste it. It's that clear. And we're going to give you guys some brave person. Uh, we're going to, not right now, but just think about it. We're going to have you share with us one of your goals, or what you feel you're inspired to do, like something that you want to manifest, and then we can all work through it, okay, to help you figure out what kind of actions, or what are forced actions, what are neutral actions, or what are inspired actions. Those are the three types. Like there's the inspired, which is what we all want, but then there's forced actions, and it's good for us to be aware of what's forced and what's neutral. Sometimes neutral actions are like our routine: driving to work, um, making supper. But as Laura and I were talking before this started, that even those neutral actions can turn to be inspired, because when we become present with our routine actions, then that can bring an awareness. It can be like a springboard to an inspired action. So don't discount your routine life, driving to work in traffic, or taking the bus, or going to the bathroom even, like, just be aware and present, even with routine, because sometimes we go on autopilot during those neutral actions, and we could miss something there.
Hmm.
And so we'll ask somebody towards the end if they want to share something with us, so that we can all work through it together.
And one
right?
thing that is also good to make a list of in that exercise as well is our productive actions and our non-productive actions. So, what can we do that will help us in the direction of our goal, and what are the actions that will are not helping us? Because sometimes it's also about identifying what we're doing that is not working. Then we have to change that up. We have to stop doing those things that are not working and start doing the things that are working. But we need to be aware of that. So making a list of like, okay, what would help me achieve that goal and what doesn't help me achieve that goal, and look at the list and be like, okay, well, what am I doing? What am I not doing? And just align ourselves to that.
Yeah. And does this action resonate with me? Like we could have our list of the two, and we could say, okay, well, this will help, but does it resonate? And
Yeah.
then, so be aware of what resonates with you.
Does it feel inspired or does it feel like
Yeah.
I'm trying to force things?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have some affirmations as well that are good that I really enjoyed to think about, and I often use them, and I think they're appropriate for this law. I will also write them down below the video in the recording in the replay. So one of the affirmation is my life is divinely guided. I am always going in the best direction. So kind of like surrendering to the divine design, knowing that we are always divinely guided, and to trust that divine guidance that's actually within us. And then I am always doing my best, to affirm that. Yes, I am always doing my best. I easily make decisions that are aligned with my highest good, because taking inspired actions is about making decisions, and sometimes we can feel frozen because we're scared to make a decision, to take action. Well, let's affirm I easily make decisions that are aligned with my highest good. I accept full responsibility for my actions and my results. So what my actions, you're not responsible for my actions, I am. And I can't blame you if things are not working for me. Then I have to look at my list of the productive actions and the non-productive actions and be honest with it and see, okay, what am I doing that's not working and what could I do that would be working better. I give myself permission to take action steps in the direction of my goal. That's where like sometimes we get frozen in the decision making process. Well, I allow myself to take steps in the direction of my goal. Like it's okay to go in that direction. I am open to all possibilities and I seize every opportunity that comes my way. So we talked about that already, just to be open to whatever comes to us, because sometimes we put something out and we get something back that we didn't expect, or we don't really like it at first, or it surprises us and we're like, why is this happening? But just to be open to it and be playful with it, to be curious with it and be like, oh, I wonder, would this be a better path or steps than what I thought about? Like, would this be actually be more productive than what's on my list? And just be open for it and be willing.
Yeah, I've got a few affirmations here, but I think you've got them. You could just write them at the bottom. I think
Yeah.
I said it to you, Laura, yesterday. You could just write them at the bottom. But one is, by visualizing my desired outcome, the perfect action is always inspired. Or I always take action and my actions are just in the nick of time, or just in time. I am excited that my actions are improving my life. And then once I have decided, nothing has the power to stop me. And then whenever there is a need to act, I take action with no hesitation. I am fearless when it comes to taking action. And then I have this little exercise you could do. Laura, I don't know if I discussed it with you, but um, that when you set a goal, don't or try to make your goal, your future goal, as if it's in the present tense. So like whatever it is that you want to create, that's already happened, and word it as if it's already happened so that because that's got to be in your believe that you've received it, and then it shall be yours. So I mean, you've got to believe that it's already on the way. So that's kind of what I do when I'm trying to create something. I just thank God that it's on the way. Like whether it's, doesn't matter what it is, like
We were
help
talking
for
about
something.
that example of weight. You could say, I'm so happy and grateful that I am at my perfect weight. Instead of saying, I want to lose weight. Well, what does that mean? Like you're wanting to lose something, then the universe is trying to get it back because you lost it. So how
So
about we focus on, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm at my best healthy weight, whatever that means to you.
or even if we, instead of even think about our weight, we can think about health. I am so glad that I am healthy and whole and feel really good. And then when you have that thought in your head, well then you choose healthy foods, and it's not about, and like Laura said, you it's when you're it's not about losing stuff, because our if that's our focus, then that's a negative focus to lose weight. It's better to put it in the affirmative, and that I want to be healthy. And so you focus on something positive, and it'll expand, because what we focus on expands. Because if we focus on our weight will expand, believe it or not. What we're resisting will persist. So let's not focus on our weight, let's focus on our health. And then by default, if we focus on our health, our weight will just drop. It'll just drop pounds.
And we could
So
also say, instead of losing, we could say, I'm letting go of whatever doesn't serve me or
yes,
whatever doesn't belong to me. Because weight could mean a lot of things. Sometimes we take on emotional baggage that it's not really us, it's what we've put on ourselves. So I'm letting go of all that. It's not me. I'm ready to part with it. I'm not losing it, I'm just parting with it because it was never mine in the first place. So that doesn't serve me, so I'm shedding it.
yeah, yeah. And Laura and I were also talking before here about when we give thanks for our bread, like our food before a meal. Actually, it was my son that told me. He says, Mom, I'm starting to, when I give thanks for what I'm eating, I'm starting to say that God, I'm asking him to bless it to the best possible use for my body. So in other words, take the good, leave the bad. And so if we can kind of be present with what we're eating, and and then by default, we'll just choose healthier foods, I think. If we're present with our food, and if we're focusing on it being nutritious for us versus giving us more weight. And I think that shift in the mindset will be huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know Sharon and Raquel have to leave it soon. Does somebody have something that they want to share, a passion or something that they're trying to accomplish or manifest that they want to share? Um, there's just a small group today, so you don't have to be shy. Oh, okay, Raquel.
Mom's pressuring me. No. No, she's not. Yeah, I guess something I've been trying to put out is having the right people in my life. Um, I don't really know in what form, but to help me grow and to put like my spiritual focus forward. I don't know how to really word it, and I don't know how to imagine that because I don't know what form it would be, and I don't want to make it that it
Okay,
has
so
to
you're
be
wanting to
someone.
attract people of like-mindedness
Yeah.
to you to promote more spiritual growth.
Mhm.
Okay.
I would start with an affirmation for sure. Um, I'm so happy and grateful, and then see yourself surrounded with like-minded people that are uplifting, that are inspiring, that are on the same, maybe not the same journey, but the same mindset of like wanting to grow and evolve and going deeper within and all that. So I'm so happy and grateful that I am surrounded by like-minded people that encourage me on my journey, or that are uplifting, and that we share values. And you can just go on and on and on and on with
Yeah,
all the.
and you can be more specific too,
Mhm.
Raquel, too. Like, I mean, yeah, that's an excellent one, Laura. But if you want to be more specific, if it, it could be more like a man, for instance, or like a partner, a life partner or something. You could be specific and ask that. Um, or a question you could ask is, um, what would it take for
Mhm.
some people to show up in my life that could add to my um, spiritual growth and a meaningful relationship
Yeah.
Mm.
And
that
then
would add to both of us.
the answer might come of like steps you could take to align yourself to that. Another affirmation would be, I always attract people in my life that are for my highest spiritual good. So
Mhm.
sometimes they don't have to be like-minded, actually. Sometimes we meet people that are of a different mind, but they teach us something and they are for our spiritual good. So we want to leave that possibility open as well,
It's true.
because
100%.
difference is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very true. I remember Dr. Wayne Dyer saying that we think of our soulmate as being someone that we fall in love with, and they align with us, they're on the same page. But he says, a soulmate is actually a teacher.
Mm.
And so he says, my soulmate is my daughter. She she pulls my buttons, she pushes my buttons, she forces me to go inward. Because she was just driving him crazy when she was a
Mm-hmm.
teenager. And he says, so just be aware that someone who's in your life right now,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you may not be on the same page as far as your spirituality, but they're there to help you grow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know my husband, he is the only one on this planet that knows how to push my buttons. I always tell him that. You know, it's just, I call him my soulmate because
Yeah.
he teaches
And
me to go deeper.
absolutely. And that's also a big lesson for me that I've had to accept in the last few years, is that um, if we feel triggered, or like you said, someone's pushing our buttons, it's teaching us something, and it is uncomfortable. That's where there is growth. So if we're asking for growth, we have to be willing for the discomfort, because it comes with it. Because otherwise we just stay in our comfort zone and nothing changes, everything is fine. And then sure, you might attract like people that are the same, like-minded, but you you won't push those limits of what's possible and what's outside of your little box. So we have to be willing to sit with that discomfort, and to feel maybe triggered or pushed to our limits, and that's good for us. So maybe you will have a friend that is like, oh, so annoying, and it doesn't have to be always conflictual either. Like, I think there's a balance between a relationship that's very conflictual and actually feels heavy and draining, that we don't need that in our lives. But a little bit of like friction, like a diamond has to be, there's friction to like shape the form of the diamond. And it's not with just like velvet hands and being gentle with it. It's sometimes it's rough and it hurts, but it's shaping it into a form so that it can be of use, it can feel its purpose. So we have to be willing for that discomfort as well, of like, ooh, you're rubbing me in the wrong way right now, but okay, what is this teaching me actually? It's pointing to something in me that maybe needs to be healed, that needs to grow, that needs to change, or that I need to let go of or whatever. And so, yeah, we need to be willing for that as well, as hard as it may be sometimes. Oh, did we lose Lori, or she's frozen right now? But did that help, Raquel?
Yes, that does a lot.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
Yeah, and you can always make that list of productive action or non-productive action. Like, would a productive action be like visualizing it, or even like praying for it, like setting an intention, like asking for it straight out? A non-productive action would be, yes, maybe limiting yourself to only the people you know or you think would be a fit for you, because what we think is good for you, for us, might not be actually what we need.
you.
And so being open to attract not what I want actually, but what I need for my growth. Because sometimes our idea is limited.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think we lost Lori, so hopefully she'll be able to get back online. Let's see. Does someone else wants to share their goal or desires? And
I more want to share quickly an experience that happened, because I've been wanting to move to Creston for a solid year, and I've put on my desktop, welcome to Creston, and I really put it out there. I was grateful for it. One thing I do is I put my hands up like, yes, it happens, it's happening, and I really feel the emotion, and I get chills just thinking about it. And I've done that for a few months, and then I received a phone call one day with somebody offering me something, and I needed to ask my boss to work remote, and the same day it all happened, and I'm moving to Creston next week.
yay!
I want to tell you, this is happening.
Yeah, it's
And
so
it's
powerful.
incredible. And if it happened once, it can happen for something else. So I have a new screen photo on my laptop now.
Now, yeah, that's awesome. Like you're on to the next goal now, like mission accomplished. Like what's next? And you keep applying the same framework, the same recipe, and you're just gonna get better and better at it. So actually you're gonna manifest into your life like quicker and
Yeah, I've
more
noticed that.
easily. And that's so exciting because now you know and you've experienced it, so you're like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah. So I started very small. I started with parking spots at the shop, and I'm a very good parking lot manifester. So now I tried bigger, and it worked. So I want to encourage everybody. It's great.
That's awesome. And you've actually also, you were sharing that with us on previous calls, like you also did that with moving to Vancouver. So
Definitely, yeah.
it just keeps happening and again. And all these little actions, actually, we can't disqualify or diminish the little things that we do. It's often the little things that end up giving us the biggest results. So those inspired actions are also in the little things, like the little thoughts that you think every day, the little feelings that you have about your thoughts every day. Like you said, just like doing that maybe 30-second, yeah, you feel it, it's happening. That's a huge action step, and it's definitely inspired, and it's definitely like giving you more momentum, and it's part of the visualization and manifestation process. So okay, what else can I do today? What's in like my best to-do list today that I can do to continue
Yeah.
on that path? What else can I think about? What else can I say, do, feel that would help me on my way? And it's actually, oh, sorry. Is that you, Lori? You're back? Oh, your internet is,
Do you hear me? Like,
yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah. There you are.
Oh, oh dear. Okay. Yeah. So one thing I just wanted to add, I don't know what all I missed, but one thing I just wanted to add is sometimes an inspired action, I mean, you will know you're aligned when you just have a joy. Like you don't even have to be doing anything. You could just be going for a walk and you just feel a complete alignment. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing right now. which is walking in the forest or like I remember walking over the hill here and just feeling so aligned, or joy. Like joy is a sign of alignment too. And I just thought, wow, this is amazing. And I wasn't really doing anything. I was just inspired to be,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
sometimes.
yeah, it's so important. It's just being in the flow of things, and
Yeah.
knowing that I am exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm exactly who I'm meant to be now. And it sometimes, because we could get caught up with that mindset of also like, okay, what else can I do? What else can I change, improve? And sometimes it's also about um accepting and just being in the now, present, and enjoying what we have and being thankful for, and just fully living it and embodying it, and knowing, trusting that things are already on their way. Like, it's okay, maybe I don't need to do anything today. I just need to be sitting in harmony with the flow of things, and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be right now. I'm doing my best. All is well. And it's part of all the affirmations that Louise Hay was doing. Like, all is well in my world. I'm safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually an inspired action, to do nothing. Then, like, you know, just to sit and meditate, whatever. That's, yeah.
Yeah, because we can get caught up, and I am definitely guilty of that. We can get caught up with the doing things, like the action, like being productive. I need to do something to make this happen. Like, what can I do? Well, sometimes it's more about not doing something and just being, and just letting things flow and come to you. And that's almost harder, because we do have to let go of control, and we do need to be trusting and have faith in the process.
Yeah. And that's another thing, Laura. It's not about striving, which is doing, but it's about abiding, which is being, right?
Yeah.
If we're abiding, then the fruit will appear. Right? That will manifest itself. And that's just like, you know, God working through us. Like, if we're just, instead of striving harder, just abide. Simple, abide. And then the upright actions will be inspired.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me also of something that my mentor also has repeated a lot. It's doing things in a certain way is the key. And what is the certain way? Well, it's being aligned with the laws of the universe. And so sometimes that requires action, sometimes it doesn't. But as long as we're being aligned and in harmony with the laws, and we're living from that flow and that harmony, then we are doing things in a certain way. And that way is going to lead us to, I want to say heaven, but it's our heaven on earth, to our best life.
And so the striving.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so when we find ourselves striving or doing something forced, that is a sign we're not aligned.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes it's for short periods of time. Okay, well, I have to deal with this situation. But I mean, if we're always forcing ourselves to do the same thing over and over again, well, that's not a one-time thing, or that's not a situational thing. But I mean, sometimes we have to deal with unpleasant things, like,
the internet broke.
Well, the internet broke, or
bad connection.
Sharon and I were talking about this morning, or somebody's son just died. I mean, you've got to deal with those things. But if we're constantly on forced actions, we need to rethink where we're going and what directions we're heading, because the doors should, you know, I always think of Hosea and his wife Gomer. She was a prostitute, and God had said, if she stays in the path, I'm going to hedge her way with thorns, but if she stays in the path, then she won't get poked. But if she turns to the right or turns to the left, well, she's going to have pain. And so that's like our our walk too, that if there's flow, that's a sign, well, things were on the right path. I mean, that doesn't mean that God doesn't expect us to stay stagnant either. He wants growth, right? So that's why things come into our life that we have to deal with, so that we can, we're forced to deal with stuff and we go higher in faith.
And something else that came to mind, and maybe we can finish with that, is that, and it's also a principle that we've learned in Body Talk, is to ask, well, what is the priority right now? Because we could have our own agenda of how we need to do things and how, in which order, but the flow of the universe, sometimes something will come on our plate that interferes with our plan of like our planned actions. Well, then if we continue with our agenda, then it's not aligned anymore, because the universe is showing us, well, this is coming up now, you need to take care of this now, it's a priority now, so let's do this. And then you never know, once that is done, it might lead you in a different direction, and then your agenda is completely irrelevant. So it's also, again, control. Like we actually think we control things, but we don't. We flow. We're just in alignment. So asking, like, hey, what is the priority today for me to do, and how can I do my best?
Yeah, that's good.
Is there anything else that anyone wants to share or ask or comment before we conclude our call today? Thank you for joining us. And next month, I'm not sure what the date is. I think we set it to June. Oh, we haven't set a date yet, actually. We'll have to discuss that. But the next law is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, which is another interesting one. And you'll have to wait until next month to learn about it.
Very good. See you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Have a
you. That
great
was really
day.
good.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, very good.
Bye.
Bye.
Month.